Hey guys, today we're not going anywhere fast. We're simply looking up. There's something timeless about that act, isn't there? Standing beneath a sky filled with pinpoints of light, feeling a silence that seems to stretch for eternity. Maybe you've done it tonight. Maybe you stepped outside for some air. Maybe your mind was too loud, and the stars were the only thing that felt quiet enough to listen to. You stand there and slowly, everything human begins to shrink. The noise, the errands, the deadlines. What's left is a single thought, a small, trembling one. How big is all this? Your eyes catch the nearest stars first, those ancient fires scattered across the night. Their light began its journey long before your story started, long before cities or continents even existed. Some of those photons began traveling when mammoths still walked the earth. You're not seeing what is. You're seeing what was. Every twinkle is a message delayed by time itself, proof that the night sky is not a view, but a time machine. And here's the part that never fails to twist the mind. Even though you feel small beneath it, you're also a part of it. The atoms in your breath, hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, were born inside long-dead stars. The calcium in your bones once fused in a stellar furnace. The iron in your blood carries the memory of explosions that scattered across the galaxy before Earth even cooled. You are literally made of star ash. You are the cosmos remembering itself. Take a slow breath. Imagine that the air filling your lungs is older than time as you know it. Molecules that drifted through volcanic smoke, oceans, even the frozen void between worlds. With every inhale, you're participating in a story that began 13.8 billion years ago and has never paused, not once. Now let the world fade further. Picture your surroundings from above, your city shrinking to a soft grid of light, your home becoming a faint spark in the dark fabric of the planet. From this height, the wind erases borders and names. The continents blur into one living surface, wrapped in a paper-thin atmosphere glowing faint blue against the shadow of space. A thin veil holds everything that has ever breathed, sung, fought, or dreamed. Every memory, every heartbeat floats inside that fragile shimmer, and yet, outside that veil, there's silence, true silence. The kind that isn't just the absence of sound, but the absence of any medium for sound to travel through. Space doesn't hum or whisper. It simply is. A place where light, not air, carries every story. As you imagine drifting higher, gravity loosens its hold. You feel the slow, elegant spin of the earth beneath your feet. One full rotation every 24 hours. One revolution around the sun every 365 days. We call those numbers time, but out here, time feels more like texture. Seconds stretch, minutes dissolve. You're no longer measuring your life in appointments or alarms. You're measuring it by the turning of a planet and the pulse of distant light. Below you lies the only home humanity has ever known. Oceans, glowing like liquid sapphire. Clouds curling in white spirals, continents blushing beneath dawn. Above you lies everything else, a depth so dark it glows, a silence so vast it sings. The line between up and down disappears. There's only motion, endless gentle motion, and you floating within it. The strange thing about beginning this kind of journey is that you can never tell where it truly starts. Maybe it starts with curiosity, that quiet tug behind your ribs that wants to know. Or maybe it started billions of years ago when particles first collided and decided somehow to become aware of themselves. Either way, standing beneath the sky tonight, you are the result of that ancient decision. Matter, learning to wonder. Scientists sometimes call our location in the universe the cosmic address. It sounds simple until you write it out. You live in a solar system, orbiting a star, in a spiral arm of a galaxy, within a cluster, inside a supercluster, inside the observable universe. Every layer adds unimaginable distance, but also connection. Each coordinate is both an address and an origin. It's humbling and it's beautiful. Because the moment you understand that you're part of this chain, from cells to stars to galaxies, the boundary between you and everything else begins to fade. What you call you is just a temporary shape the universe is using to experience itself. The starlight entering your eyes right now may have traveled for millions of years just to complete that experience, to meet your gaze, to awaken awe. So, before we travel farther, pause here.
Feel your pulse.
It beats about once every second, a rhythm that seems small compared to cosmic time, yet it's synchronized with the rotation of planets, the vibration of atoms, the heartbeat of stars collapsing and being reborn. You are already in motion with all of it. Wherever you are, let the world slow down for a while. Soften your gaze, let the hum of life around you fade, and gently drift with us into tonight's quiet exploration. Imagine the city around you fading like a dim memory, the hum of cars dissolving into silence, the streetlights flickering out one by one until the only glow left comes from the sky itself. From up here, your home no longer has walls. Your neighborhood blurs into a patchwork of light and shadow, and the planet beneath you spins silently like a jewel suspended in ink. You start to drift higher, slowly, gently, as if gravity itself has loosened its fingers. The clouds below stretch into endless white continents, and you realize that everything familiar, every story, every name, every victory and heartbreak fits neatly on this single blue sphere. It feels both infinite and heartbreakingly small. From the edge of the atmosphere, the Earth's curve is clear and delicate. You can see how the light of sunrise spills across its rim, a soft halo of gold and sapphire. In that fragile glow lies everything you've ever loved. Yet from this distance, borders vanish. Nations disappear. The idea of us versus them melts away, replaced by something quieter. The understanding that every heartbeat on that planet is beating within the same tiny oasis of life. You drift a little farther still, and the familiar transforms into abstraction. Oceans turn into swirls of blue ink. The Himalayas become faint wrinkles on a marble surface. The Sahara is no longer a desert, but a warm tint across a spinning globe. Earth, your home, your origin, becomes an art piece painted in motion. Now look outward. The moon is there, cold, distant, yet strangely comforting. Its light has always reached you with a slight delay, 1.3 seconds to be exact. That's how long it takes for light to cross the space between Earth and its companion. A single second and a fraction, short enough to feel immediate, yet long enough to remind you that even in our closest relationships with the cosmos, distance always hums beneath the connection. It's hard to believe that people once thought the moon was the edge of everything. Ancient astronomers saw it as the border between Earth's realm and the heavens. Today we know it's just the first step outward. Beyond it, the planets begin their slow looping dance around the sun. You drift past the orbit of Mars, a red spark both familiar and unreachable. The sun glows behind you, shrinking from a blazing disk into a steady flame. The light that warms your skin on Earth now seems like a single thread stretching across the dark. Between each planet lies not emptiness, but an ocean of nothingness so vast it makes language stumble. To give that emptiness a sense of scale, imagine this. If the sun were the size of a glowing basketball sitting at the center of a stadium, Earth would be a grain of sand roughly 25 yards away. Jupiter would be a marble far down the parking lot, and Pluto, if you still count it, would be a speck drifting several kilometers beyond the gates. Between each of those tiny beads, there's nothing but vacuum, and yet that vacuum isn't truly empty. It hums with faint whispers. The background radiation of creation, the subtle vibration of photons, the traces of particles that once belonged to stars long dead. The space between worlds is alive with memory. As you float past the outer planets, the sun's warmth weakens until it feels more like a thought than a presence. The boundary of the solar system isn't marked by walls, but by silence, a region called the heliopause, where the solar wind meets the wind of interstellar space. Crossing it is like stepping out of a warm home into the chill of infinite night. If you could listen, you'd hear nothing. And yet your instruments, if you had them, would sense a change. The particles streaming from the sun would thin out, replaced by the ancient, slow-moving atoms of the galaxy beyond. You've officially left home from here. Earth's light is gone. Even the sun, the heart of your system, is no longer blinding. It's just another star among billions, indistinguishable except for the memory of where you came from. The journey has barely begun, and already the mind struggles to hold scale. You can't really imagine a billion of anything, well, not truly. You can say the word, write the zeros, but the human brain was never built for that kind of vastness. So instead of trying to count, you feel how small everything becomes once it's placed in this context. But you also feel something else, a soft astonishment, because somewhere within this immensity, life managed to appear. Thought appeared. Curiosity appeared. The same curiosity that pushed you to look up tonight, that tiny flicker of wonder, is the same spark that sends telescopes into orbit, that deciphers the light of distant stars, that dares to imagine what lies beyond the horizon of everything we can see. This is what it means to leave home behind. Not to abandon it, but to see it for what it really is, a fragile beginning floating in an ocean without shores. Drift for a moment in that silence. Watch the sun fade, the planets vanish, the Milky Way emerge like a luminous river around you. Every breath, every heartbeat, every flicker of consciousness, all of it, a whisper in the infinite dark, the sun. That golden center of warmth and certainty begins to fade behind you. What once dominated the sky is now just another point of light, indistinguishable from the countless others that shimmer in the distance. Yet it remains the heart of everything you've ever known. Its gravity holds your entire story together, every orbit, every season, every heartbeat under its glow. If you could see the solar system as it truly is, stripped of all human scale, it would look nothing like the tidy textbook diagram. The planets wouldn't be clustered together in neat, concentric rings. They'd be tiny sparks scattered across 4 billion miles of near emptiness. Between them stretches a kingdom of silence so vast that even light, the fastest thing in existence, takes hours just to move from one throne to the next. Here, the distances between worlds are measured not in miles, but in light time. From the Sun to Earth, 8 minutes and 20 seconds. To Jupiter, about 43 minutes. To Neptune, the farthest major planet, more than 4 hours.
Imagine that. If the sun were to suddenly vanish, we wouldn't even know it for nearly half a day.
The warmth on your skin, the glow of daylight, would be a message from a past that's already gone. Now, picture yourself drifting at the edge of this empire, somewhere near the Kuiper Belt, where icy relics orbit like frozen fossils. Each one is a time capsule from the dawn of the solar system, untouched since before Earth even formed. Their surfaces are dark, coated in ancient carbon compounds. Every so often, one of these objects is nudged inward, melting into a comet that streaks toward the sun, leaving behind a glowing trail, a brief, luminous echo of its forgotten origin. Beyond that lies the Oort cloud, a vast, spherical shell of icy fragments that marks the outermost frontier of the sun's influence. It stretches nearly halfway to the next star.
No spacecraft has ever reached it. No light has ever returned from it.
It's a region more imagined than seen, a whisper at the edge of our understanding. The boundary between our solar system and everything else is not a line, but a fading memory. Beyond this threshold, the gravitational pull of our star weakens until it blends with the soft tug of the galaxy itself. You're no longer under the rule of one sun, you're entering the dominion of billions. Take a moment here. Look back. The entire solar system, every planet, every moon, every comet and asteroid fits comfortably within a single pixel from this distance. Everything humanity has ever touched, built or dreamed is now invisible, compressed into an invisible dot. And yet in that dot there are oceans, laughter, storms and stories. There's you. The universe has no concept of scale, but you do. And that is what makes your awareness extraordinary. Turn away now. Ahead lies the interstellar gulf, the space between stars. The nearest one to us, Proxima Centauri, sits about 4 light-years away. 4 light-years, that's roughly 24 trillion miles. Even if you could travel as fast as the Voyager spacecraft, the most distant object humanity has ever launched, it would take over 70,000 years to reach it. By then, entire languages would have vanished.
Mountains would have crumbled.
New species might have evolved on Earth. Between here and there lies what appears to be nothing. A vacuum so empty that a cubic meter of it contains just a few atoms. And yet this emptiness isn't truly void. It's filled with the faint glow of background radiation, the leftover light from the Big Bang, and the ghostly streams of cosmic dust drifting through eternal night. It's a strange paradox. Space looks empty, but it's full of everything that ever was and everything that could be. Photons, particles, gravity, all weaving an invisible fabric that stretches from one end of existence to the other. As you float through this space, your sense of direction loses meaning.
Up and down no longer exist. Forward and backward blur together.
What remains is movement itself, the slow, graceful drift through a sea that has no shore. And then, far ahead, you see it, a soft glimmer. It's not the sun nor any planet, but a distant star system, Alpha Centauri. 3 suns dancing together in a gravitational embrace, their light taking years to reach your eyes. Around one of them, perhaps, circles a rocky world warmed just enough to harbor an ocean, a sky, or even life. We don't know, but the possibility alone feels like music. Every photon of that light carries a story, a message from another corner of the cosmos, saying you're not alone in wondering. From here, the solar system is behind you like a fading ember. Ahead lies the galaxy, a spiral of stars so enormous that it defies comprehension. The scale is about to shift again, and your imagination must stretch with it. The sun, once the center of everything, will soon become one of hundreds of billions. Let go of the idea of home for now. You haven't lost it. You've simply outgrown it. The next step is not about distance, it's about perspective. The farther you travel, the more you realize you were never separate from any of this.
You were never small. You've only been looking from too close. The darkness around you is no longer still. It's alive with faint ripples of light. Ahead, the glow of Alpha Centauri drifts closer, 3 stars bound together in a cosmic waltz that's been spinning for billions of years.
Their warmth doesn't reach you, but their beauty does. Each flicker is a reminder. Even the coldest corners of space still shimmer with connection. You've now crossed into the realm between suns, the interstellar sea. If the solar system was your hometown, this is the vast ocean between continents. Distances here are staggering. You could fit thousands of planetary systems between one star and the next, and still have room left for silence. Even light, the universe's fastest traveler, seems to move reluctantly, as if pausing to breathe between destinations. Every particle of dust you pass has a story. Some were born from supernovae, the explosive deaths of stars. Others drifted out from forming planets or collided fragments of ancient worlds. Space is full of these relics, though you'd never see them with your eyes.
They're too small, too few, too faint.
Yet together, they shape the glow of galaxies and the birth of new suns. The nearest star to you now, Proxima Centauri, has at least one known planet, a world slightly larger than Earth, locked in orbit where liquid water might exist. Astronomers call it Proxima b. If you could visit, you'd find a sky painted red from its dim sun, and a year that lasts only 11 Earth days. It might be frozen on one side, scorched on the other. But somewhere in between, a twilight band could hold oceans. We don't know if anything lives there. But perhaps under that red glow, something is watching its own sky and wondering if anyone else exists. The idea is both haunting and comforting. Somewhere out there, the same physics, the same laws that govern your heartbeat, might be creating life from dust and light. The pattern repeats across billions of stars like verses in an infinite song. Look around you. The galaxy now reveals itself in glimpses, ribbons of pale starlight, clusters that glitter like spilled diamonds, faint rivers of gas tracing invisible arms. You're floating inside a whirlpool of creation, 100,000 light-years wide. From this perspective, the Milky Way isn't just a collection of stars. It's a living system, turning endlessly around a dark heart. That heart, of course, is invisible. At the center of our galaxy lies Sagittarius A, a supermassive black hole 4 million times the mass of the Sun. You can't see it, but you can feel its pull. Everything in this spiral does. Every star, every planet, every cloud of dust moves to its rhythm, orbiting it the way Earth orbits the Sun. The difference is scale, one cosmic heartbeat spanning millions of years. It's strange, isn't it, that everything beautiful here depends on something invisible. The stars shine because gravity forces them to burn. The galaxies swirl because darkness holds them together. Without that unseen order, everything would scatter into chaos. And yet, it's the emptiness, the unseen, that keeps the universe whole. Try to imagine what this galaxy really is. 200 billion suns, each one potentially with its own planets, its own skies, its own histories. Some are young and blue, blazing fiercely for only a few million years. Others are ancient and red, burning dimly, as if whispering goodbyes to the universe. Between them are nebulae, clouds of gas and dust where new stars are born. From a distance, they look like paintings, pink, violet, gold. Up close, they are storms of light and shadow, shaping worlds out of chaos. When astronomers look at the Milky Way through their telescopes, they aren't just seeing stars, they're seeing time. Every point of light is a message from the past. The farther away it shines, the older the story it tells. Some of the light reaching your eyes tonight began its journey when dinosaurs walked the earth. Some left its source when no living thing had yet taken a breath. You are, in every sense, surrounded by ghosts, but they're beautiful ones. As your mind drifts through this spiral, consider what it means that you can even think about it. A brain, barely a kilogram in weight, can imagine the scale of 100,000 light years. That might be the most miraculous thing in the universe, that matter has learned to measure itself. Now, pull your focus farther back. Picture the Milky Way as a single whirl of light among countless others. Each galaxy out there has its own rhythm, its own center, its own symphony of stars. The spaces between them are dark, but that darkness is not empty. It's full of potential. The light from those distant galaxies travels billions of years to reach us. crossing time itself to paint the night sky. You begin to see the pattern, an infinite nesting of worlds within worlds, each more immense than the last. The distances grow so great that even imagination struggles to keep up. What started as a simple act of looking up has now become something far more profound. You are not just observing the universe. You are becoming aware of awareness itself, a conscious flicker within a cosmic storm. And as you float here, in the quiet between stars, you realize something both humbling and wondrous. You've crossed unimaginable distances, but in truth, you've never left home. Because home isn't just a planet or a star, it's everything. Every atom that drifts through this vastness is part of the same ancient story, written in the same cosmic language. The next chapter of that story lies ahead, where galaxies gather, collide, and reshape the fabric of existence itself. And through it all, light continues to travel, carrying messages across eternity, waiting for someone, anyone, to notice. From this distance, the Milky Way reveals its true form, a luminous river of stars curling through the dark like liquid fire. You've seen it from Earth before, faintly arcing across the sky on summer nights. But out here, far beyond the thin veil of atmosphere, it's almost overwhelming. It isn't just a band of light anymore. It's an ocean of suns, a whirlpool of creation, slowly turning around a hidden center. Each bright point before you is a sun, each sun with the possibility of its own worlds, its own moons, its own storms and stories. There are more stars in this galaxy than there are grains of sand on all the beaches of Earth. The human mind can't truly grasp such numbers. We try, we count, we compare. But language collapses beneath the weight of it. So instead of measuring, you let the scale wash over you, not as math, but as awe. The Milky Way is immense, about 100,000 light-years across. That means a beam of light, the fastest thing in the universe, would take 100 millennia just to cross from one side to the other. Every year, your planet makes one small orbit around the sun. It would take 100 billion such years for light to traverse this galaxy's vast disk.
And the galaxy itself is not standing still.
It's rotating, drifting, pulled by invisible hands through space at over 2 million kilometers per hour. If you could watch it over eons, you'd see it breathe. Spiral arms winding tighter, stars forming and dying, whole clusters colliding like waves. It's alive in a way. Every star birth is a heartbeat, every supernova a sigh. Somewhere in one of those spiral arms, the Orion arm, lies a small yellow star, the one you left behind. From this perspective, it's unremarkable, a single spark among hundreds of billions. And yet, that's where oceans shimmer, where clouds form and dissolve, where minds like yours look up and wonder. That single spark holds awareness. That alone makes it extraordinary. Beyond it, the stars become dense, so many that they blur into luminous mist. The galactic core glows like a molten gem. It's crowded there, with stars packed so closely that night never truly falls on any world lucky enough to orbit them. Near the center, gravity reigns supreme. At its heart lies Sagittarius A, a supermassive black hole, invisible yet immense, devouring and shaping everything around it. Its pull keeps the galaxy in motion, an anchor made of darkness. To imagine this, think of a storm, not of air, but of gravity. Stars swirl like leaves in its current, their light bending as it passes near the event horizon. Time itself stretches there. If you watched a star fall in, you'd never see it cross the edge, only fade, slower and slower until it froze in place, trapped forever in time's slowest frame. And yet, that same gravity gives the galaxy its form. Without it, everything would drift apart. The most powerful forces in existence are both destructive and creative, tearing and binding in equal measure. Now pull back even farther. The Milky Way isn't alone. It belongs to a small family of galaxies, about 80 of them, called the Local Group. Among them are neighbors like Andromeda, a spiral even larger than ours, and the Small and Large Magellanic Clouds, dwarf galaxies orbiting like companions. The Milky Way and Andromeda are on a slow collision course. In about 4 billion years, they'll merge into one vast elliptical galaxy, a cosmic dance that will erase and create in the same breath. To you, that might sound cataclysmic, but from the galaxy's perspective, it's simply evolution. Stars rarely collide directly. Space is too vast. Instead, gravity stretches them into new shapes, forming waves of gas and light that ripple for millions of years. It's destruction that looks like art. If you could see that future, it would look almost serene. Two spirals intertwining, then blending, their stars scattering into graceful arcs. New suns would be born in the chaos, new planets forming around them, and perhaps far, far in the future, new eyes would look up and see two faint galaxies merging in their night sky, wondering what it means. The galaxy is not static. It grows, transforms, forgets, remembers, just like you, and in that parallel lies something profound. The universe builds itself the way the mind builds thoughts, from nothing but potential. Each star, a neuron firing in a cosmic brain, each orbit, a pattern in an endless pulse of awareness. Some scientists have noticed the resemblance. The structure of the cosmic web, the vast filaments connecting galaxies, looks eerily like the neural pathways of a brain. Perhaps coincidence, perhaps not. Maybe the universe isn't just a thing that exists. Maybe it's a process that knows. As you drift through the galactic light, that thought settles in. What if the universe is, in some way, alive? Not alive as in breathing or beating, but alive in its persistence, in the way it organizes chaos into pattern, darkness into light. You begin to feel that maybe your consciousness isn't separate from it at all. Maybe thought itself is just a smaller echo of a larger pattern, the way a wave belongs to the ocean, but never leaves it. The galaxy turns slowly, endlessly. You drift with it, part of its motion, part of its silence, every star, every cell, every thought, all part of the same unfolding, and you realize, with quiet certainty, you were never outside the universe looking in. You have always been inside it, and it inside you, two reflections sharing the same infinite light. Now, let your gaze drift beyond the Milky Way. The galaxy that once filled your field of vision, that glowing spiral of dust and stars, begins to shrink into a pale ellipse of light. And as it does, you realize something almost impossible to grasp. What once felt infinite is now just one island among trillions. Galaxies scatter across the darkness, like embers tossed into a cosmic wind. Some are small and irregular, faint smudges of starlight. Others are giants, vast elliptical realms containing hundreds of trillions of suns. Between them lies not emptiness, but thin rivers of gas, faint streams of light, and invisible bridges of gravity. The nearest of these distant realms is Andromeda. Even now, its pale disk glows faintly in the same direction you once looked from Earth, a neighboring spiral so enormous that if your eyes could see ultraviolet light, it would span the width of 10 full moons in the sky. Though 2 million light-years away, it's on a slow, inevitable collision course with the Milky Way. They're moving toward each other at over 100 kilometers per second, an ancient dance that's been unfolding since before mammals existed, when they finally meet billions of years from now. Stars will drift and weave into new constellations. Worlds will be flung into the dark, while others may find new suns to orbit. From a distance, the event will look like two luminous storms colliding, their spiral arms stretching, merging, and becoming one. Creation and destruction blending seamlessly, a cosmic waltz that lasts for eons. But even that breathtaking scale is small compared to what lies beyond. For galaxies rarely wander alone. They gather into clusters, vast cities of stars containing hundreds or even thousands of galaxies, all bound together by gravity. These clusters form the architecture of the universe, the scaffolding upon which light and matter are arranged. Take, for instance, the Coma cluster. From afar, it looks like a snowstorm of galaxies, each one a city of stars drifting in a sea of invisible matter. This cluster alone spans tens of millions of light years. To cross from one end to the other, even light itself would take hundreds of millions of years. Within it, smaller galaxies orbit the larger ones like moons, colliding, merging, and being torn apart in a slow-motion ballet. Everywhere you look, gravity is at work. It shapes galaxies like an unseen sculptor, binding them into clusters, clusters into superclusters, and superclusters into webs that stretch across the observable universe. The result is breathtaking, an interconnected lattice of light and darkness, spanning 93 billion light-years, forming patterns that echo across the void. From this perspective, the Milky Way, your home, is nothing more than a single thread in an enormous tapestry. Its light merges with countless others, weaving rivers of gold and violet that wind through the darkness. These filaments link galaxy clusters like beads on invisible strings. Between them lie vast voids, cosmic deserts hundreds of millions of light-years wide, where almost nothing exists. Astronomers call this grand design the cosmic web, and when they map it, through telescopes, through radio waves, through simulations, it reveals something astonishing. The universe has structure. Not random, not chaotic, but ordered, elegant, almost organic. It looks eerily familiar, like something you've seen before. The filaments of neurons inside a brain, the delicate pattern of lightning frozen in space. Perhaps it's coincidence, or perhaps consciousness and cosmos are built from the same blueprint. One reflected in starlight, the other in thought. And as you drift through this web of light, a quiet realization takes hold. The darkness is not absence, but balance. For every cluster blazing with 1,000 galaxies, there's a void beside it, silent, empty, necessary. Without that stillness, the stars would have no stage to shine upon. If you could listen here, really listen, you'd hear nothing, yet you'd feel everything. The slow pulse of cosmic radiation, the faint tug of gravity stretching across unimaginable distances. Every atom, every photon, every spark of awareness, connected by laws older than time. Now imagine you're looking back again. The Milky Way, Andromeda, and all their companions form a small neighborhood called the local group. That neighborhood belongs to an even larger district, the Laniakea supercluster, in a continent of galaxies spanning 520 million light-years. To cross from one edge to the other, light would need 500 million years. 500 million. That's longer than life has existed on Earth. And yet, this entire structure, vast beyond imagining, is still only one tiny patch of the observable universe. Beyond it, there are billions more.
Billions of clusters, billions of webs,
all expanding away from each other in the grand flow of cosmic time. It's humbling, terrifying, beautiful. You are adrift in something so vast that it erases every notion of here and there. And yet, for reasons no one fully understands, you can perceive it. You can hold it in your mind, even if only faintly. The universe doesn't ask you to understand it, only to notice. Because in noticing, you become part of its awareness, a flicker of consciousness observing the infinite, completing a circle that began when starlight first touched the dust that would one day become you. The stars may never know you're here. The galaxies may never call your name. But in this moment, suspended between clusters, between thoughts, you are as vast as all of it, If you were to drift farther still, leaving behind the familiar clusters of the Laniakea supercluster, you would start to see something truly extraordinary, the grandest pattern in existence. The cosmic web stretches out before you, an endless network of filaments glowing faintly, each one a strand of galaxies bound by dark matter. It's as if the universe itself were woven from light. You're no longer thinking in terms of stars or even galaxies. Those are now mere points within larger structures, threads in an infinite fabric. Imagine looking down upon a spider's web, each intersection glowing where hundreds of thousands of galaxies gather, while between them stretch vast voids of absolute darkness, like the spaces between dreams. This is the architecture of reality, a structure so immense that even calling it large feels laughably inadequate. The cosmic web spans billions of light years, an interconnected skeleton that defines the shape of everything. Its filaments carry the faint fingerprints of the Big Bang, the first echo of expansion frozen into geometry. If you could watch it over cosmic time, you'd see those filaments ripple, grow and shift as gravity slowly sculpts the flow of matter. Galaxies slide along these invisible highways like droplets on glass, drawn inexorably toward one another, merging into clusters that grow heavier with each passing eon. And all around them the voids, silent, empty, expanding, create contrast, giving the luminous threads their form. Astronomers call this vast structure the cosmic web, but the name doesn't capture its beauty.
It isn't static.
It pulses, it breathes, it evolves. It's like the neural map of a living being, the brain of existence itself. Every glowing node, every strand of gravity is part of a system that connects everything to everything else. You could trace a single filament for hundreds of millions of light years before it faded into the dark. Along its path lie countless galaxies, some ancient, some newly born, some already dissolving into silence. And somewhere within that tangled infinity, you exist, a tiny flicker of awareness on a small blue world orbiting one unremarkable star in one unremarkable arm of one unremarkable galaxy. And yet you can see this.
You can comprehend it. You, made of dust and water and starlight, can perceive the structure of the entire universe.
That realization alone is staggering, as though the web were gazing back at itself through you. Now focus on one of those glowing threads. Light travels along it like electricity along a wire, photons crossing from galaxy to galaxy through intergalactic gas. But here's the strange part. Much of the universe's substance isn't visible. More than 95% of it is dark. Dark matter and dark energy, unseen but essential. It's this invisible matter that sculpts the web, drawing galaxies together like beads on unseen strings. Without dark matter, the web would unravel. Without dark energy, it would collapse. These two invisible forces, opposite yet intertwined, keep the cosmos balanced. One binding, one expanding. It's a tension older than time itself, a dance of gravity and emptiness that defines everything. You float within this balance. The filaments hum faintly with radiation, the afterglow of the Big Bang, light so old it has stretched into microwaves, the faintest whisper of creation still echoing across space. If you could tune your senses to it, you'd hear the oldest sound in the universe, a cosmic sigh, gentle and eternal. Somewhere far off, galaxies rush away, carried by the expansion of space.
Not through space, but with it.
Space itself is stretching like the surface of an inflating balloon. Each point moves away from every other point, not because of motion, but because the fabric of existence is expanding between them, and that expansion means there are places you can never reach. There are galaxies whose light will never touch you. Not now, not ever. They are moving away faster than light itself, carried on the swelling tide of space-time. They might as well belong to another universe entirely. This is what scientists call the cosmic horizon. Beyond it lies the unobservable regions forever hidden, no matter how advanced we become. They exist, but to us, they're stories without pages. Somewhere out there, new galaxies are forming, new stars igniting, perhaps even new minds awakening, all destined to remain unseen. Think about that. For every star you can see, there may be 1,000,000 more beyond the horizon. For every possible world, 1,000 others waiting in eternal anonymity. The observable universe, all 93 billion light-years of it, could be only a droplet in an infinite ocean. Infinity. The mind recoils at the word, yet it whispers through everything. Infinity in space, in time, in possibility. The cosmic web is only a sketch of what might exist beyond, a map of a realm without edges, and still within that infinite sprawl there is a pattern, a subtle intelligence at work. The same mathematics that governs galaxies governs the cells in your body. The same forces that shape the web shape your neural connections. You are not separate from it. You are a reflection of it. The web stretches endlessly, luminous and alive, folding and unfolding across eons. Somewhere within its vastness, the light of your world continues to travel. A thin beam moving outward forever, joining the great conversation of photons and gravity. You realize then that perhaps this is the closest thing the universe has to thought. The flow of light through darkness. The rhythm of order emerging from nothingness, and in that rhythm, faint but unmistakable, you can almost hear it breathe. Beyond the shimmering filaments of the cosmic web, something curious begins to happen. The glow starts to thin. Galaxies stretch away, their light redshifting as the expansion of space tugs at every wavelength. It's not that they're moving through space. It's that space itself is stretching, carrying them away like leaves on a rising tide. The farther you look, the faster everything recedes, until finally, even light seems to struggle to keep up. Welcome to the edge of what can be seen, the observable universe. That phrase sounds definitive, doesn't it?
As if we've mapped the borders of reality. But it's only a trick of time.
Observable doesn't mean everything there is. It means everything whose light has reached us since the beginning. And that limit is determined by age, 13.8 billion years since the Big Bang. Yet, here's the strange truth. The edge of the observable universe isn't 13.8 billion light-years away. It's 46.5 billion.
How can that be?
Because as the light was traveling toward us, the universe was expanding, stretching faster and faster. The photons that began their journey when the first atoms formed have been running on a treadmill that keeps moving beneath them. By the time they arrive, the places they came from are now more than 3 times farther away than they were when the light set out. So when you look at the edge of visibility, you're not seeing distance. You're seeing time. Every direction you look is a timeline pointing backward. The light from nearby stars is from yesterday. The glow of distant galaxies is from when the universe was young. The faintest, oldest light of all, but the cosmic microwave background, is the fossilized afterglow of creation itself. Imagine it, the universe, once a dense ocean of fire and plasma, cooling and spreading until 380,000 years after the Big Bang, it became transparent for the first time. That first light has been traveling ever since, filling space with a soft, uniform whisper. When our telescopes capture it, they're not looking out into space. They're looking back into time's first dawn, and here's the kicker. Everything you can see, everything telescopes can ever hope to detect, is contained within this sphere of visibility. 93 billion light-years across. 2 trillion galaxies, each galaxy with hundreds of billions of stars, each star perhaps with its own worlds. Yet cosmologists suspect that beyond this visible shell, the universe continues, perhaps endlessly. Some theories say it might be 250 times larger than what we can observe. Others say it might be infinite, a boundless expanse repeating itself forever, with variations so subtle they might include infinite versions of you. If infinity exists, then somewhere out there is a galaxy just like the Milky Way, a planet just like Earth, a city just like yours, and a person sitting under a night sky identical to yours, wondering the exact same thing. But infinity is a tricky concept. It doesn't behave like a number. It devours all numbers.
Add to it, subtract from it, double it, it remains the same.
If the cosmos truly has no end, then every possible arrangement of matter must occur somewhere.
Every story, every thought.
Every life. For some, that idea feels comforting. The notion that nothing is truly lost, only repeated in endless variations. For others, it's dizzying, even unsettling. Because if everything happens infinitely often, what makes this version and your version matter at all? Maybe the answer lies in perspective. You don't need the universe to be finite or infinite to find meaning.
It's enough that you exist here, now, aware of the vastness surrounding you.
The act of perception itself, the simple, fragile miracle of knowing that you are, is what gives the cosmos its meaning. Beyond the horizon, there are realms that will never touch you, galaxies forever beyond reach, civilizations that may rise and fall without your world ever knowing. Yet within this limit, this small, observable bubble, life found a way to awaken and look back. Think of that. Out of infinite silence, a single planet whispered a question. Out of billions of galaxies, one small world began to wonder where it came from. Maybe that's what the universe has been waiting for all along. A way to hear itself. You're standing at the edge of the knowable, staring into the unknowable. There's no border here, no line that separates one from the other. The visible universe fades seamlessly into the unseen, like twilight fading into night. But you can feel the transition, that moment when comprehension stops and imagination begins. That's the real frontier. Not the edge of space, but the edge of understanding. As you drift along that boundary, surrounded by silence older than stars, something inside you changes. The question, how big is the universe, begins to dissolve.
Because maybe the answer doesn't matter.
Maybe what matters is that you can ask it. That your mind can stretch across billions of light years and still find wonder. The darkness isn't empty, it's potential.
Every photon, every idea, every dream you have ever had, all born from the same explosion of light.
You're not apart from the universe.
You are its echo, its continuation, its memory. And though the horizon will always retreat faster than you can chase it, that's all right.
Because the pursuit, the reaching, the wondering, is the point. You are what the cosmos became when it finally decided to look back. You've reached the threshold where light itself begins to fail. The edge of the observable universe doesn't end in a wall of matter. It fades into mystery. Beyond this horizon, the light from distant galaxies will never reach you, not because it's too dim or too far, but because the space between you and them is expanding faster than light can cross it. Those realms still exist, but they're already gone from your future. They're part of a universe you can never touch, and that realization changes everything. It means there are whole regions of reality, perhaps most of reality, that you will never see, never measure, never even imagine accurately. The cosmos isn't just vast, it's unknowable by design. You might expect that to feel isolating, but strangely it doesn't. The horizon isn't a boundary, it's an invitation. It whispers that the unknown still exists, that mystery endures even in an age of telescopes and equations. Because as much as we've uncovered, there will always be more beyond reach.
And maybe that's the point. For billions of years, the universe has been expanding, driven by something unseen. something we call dark energy.
It's not a force in the ordinary sense. It's the property of space itself. Instead of pulling things together like gravity, it pushes them apart, accelerating the expansion. Every second, galaxies slip farther away, their light stretching into longer and longer wavelengths until it disappears entirely. Imagine watching your night sky slowly dim. One by one, distant galaxies vanish as the expansion carries them beyond your cosmic horizon. Billions of years from now, the only visible galaxies will be those gravitationally bound to our own, the remnants of the local group. Future civilizations
living under that darkened sky might believe their galaxy is the whole universe.
They will never see what you see tonight. It's strange to think that you live in the perfect moment, a narrow window in cosmic history when the universe is old enough for galaxies to exist, but not yet so old that most of them have vanished. You were born at the precise time when it's still possible to know that the universe is vast.
That timing feels
intentional, though it's not. It's simply beautiful coincidence, or maybe something deeper we don't yet have words for. Now look out beyond the horizon, even if you can't see it.
out there. The expansion continues without end. Space itself is growing, not into anything, but within itself.
Galaxies move apart, not through space, but with it, carried on the stretching fabric of existence. The distances become meaningless. Every reference point drifts. In that boundless motion, you realize something subtle but profound. There's no real center to the universe. No edge, no middle, no fixed reference point. Every galaxy sees itself as the center because everywhere is expanding equally. The universe isn't a bubble growing into space. It is space creating itself continuously. And still, for all its outward motion, something about it feels inward. You begin to sense that this expansion isn't just physical, it's metaphorical. Awareness, too, expands in the same way, endlessly unfolding, never complete. Perhaps the cosmos grows not just to fill space, but to give consciousness new places to explore, new mysteries to contemplate. As you drift along this invisible frontier, light becomes memory. The faintest glow from the earliest stars reaches you, a photon that began its journey when the first galaxies were born. You hold it in your imagination, knowing that by the time it left its source, Earth didn't exist, and the atoms that make you were still scattered across the void. That single photon carries a story 13 billion years long. It crossed unimaginable distances, outliving stars, dodging black holes, slipping through clusters, and finally landing in your mind. And for that brief instant, it becomes thought, cosmic light transformed into awareness. Now turn inward. Consider this paradox. You're surrounded by darkness, but that darkness is full of light you can never see. Every horizon hides something luminous. What if your own mind works the same way, filled with invisible brilliance just beyond awareness, expanding into mystery? Astronomers sometimes speak of the cosmic horizon problem, the puzzle of why the universe looks so uniform in all directions, as if every region somehow knew the others existed, even though they're too far apart to ever exchange light. The solution, they say, is cosmic inflation, a brief, furious expansion in the universe's first instant, when space grew faster than light itself, stretching everything smooth. But there's another interpretation, quieter and more poetic. Maybe the universe was always one, not just physically, but fundamentally. Maybe every point in space was, and still is, connected beneath the surface, threads of one fabric, aware of itself. As the galaxies fade into darkness, you begin to see it not as loss, but as continuation. The unseen universe doesn't end, it waits. Every point beyond the horizon still exists, playing its part in the grand equation. You can't reach it, but you're part of it, entangled through gravity, through time, through the faint pull of awareness itself. Even as everything moves away, you remain connected, Not through distance, but through origin. The same fire that forged the stars forged you. The same expansion that carries galaxies apart also breathes life into your lungs. You are not standing at the edge of the universe. You are the edge, the place where the cosmos becomes conscious of itself. So don't mourn the galaxies you'll never see. They're still there, and their light will always be moving, outward, forward, eternally.
You're part of that motion too.
A traveller made of starlight, expanding in your own quiet way. And somewhere out beyond the cosmic horizon, perhaps another mind, another flicker of awareness, is wondering the same thing, feeling the same awe. You'll never meet, never exchange a word, but in the rhythm of thought you're already connected. That's the real horizon, not the limit of sight, but the limit of separation. Beyond it, everything is one. Even as you hover at the edge of visibility, surrounded by a silence so vast it feels holy, the mind can't help but ask, what is all this made of? What exactly fills the endless darkness between galaxies? At first glance, you might think the answer is simple: stars, planets, dust. The bright, tangible matter you can see. But here's the astonishing truth. Everything familiar, every atom in every star, every planet, every cell in your body makes up less than 5% of the universe. The rest is invisible, intangible, and almost completely unknown. About 27% of the cosmos is made of something called dark matter. It doesn't shine or reflect light. It passes through ordinary matter without a trace. We know it's there only because of its gravity, the invisible hand holding galaxies together. Without dark matter, galaxies like the Milky Way would spin themselves apart. Stars at the edges would fling away into the void. But instead they stay bound, moving in perfect synchrony, held by something we can't see or touch. You might imagine dark matter as a ghostly lattice woven through everything. It forms the scaffolding of the cosmic web, the hidden skeleton of reality. Galaxies cling to it like dew on a spider's thread. Every cluster, every filament, every spiral of light, traced and shaped by the gravity of this unseen substance. But that's only part of the mystery. Because if dark matter binds the universe, something else is tearing it apart. Roughly 68% of everything that exists is made of dark energy, a phenomenon even stranger. While dark matter pulls, dark energy pushes. It's the invisible pressure driving the acceleration of cosmic expansion. Think about that. The space between galaxies isn't static, it's stretching. Every second more space appears, new emptiness born everywhere at once. Dark energy is the reason why. We don't know what it is. It might be a property of the vacuum itself, a kind of built-in tension that makes reality expand. Or it might be something entirely different, something outside our current imagination. Some physicists describe dark energy as a form of negative gravity, a repulsive force woven into the fabric of existence. Others believe it's a signal that our understanding of gravity is incomplete. Whatever it is, it dominates the cosmos, shaping the fate of everything. As you drift here, between light and shadow, you begin to feel that dominance. The galaxies around you are not just moving, they're being carried away, faster and faster by an invisible tide. The expansion isn't slowing down as gravity would suggest, it's accelerating. Every second more galaxies slip beyond reach. Every moment the visible universe grows lonelier, and yet there's something strangely poetic about it. The same force that will one day pull the stars from view is the reason they exist at all. Without expansion, the universe would have collapsed back into itself long ago. Without gravity, it would never have formed structure. Creation and destruction holding hands. You can't see dark matter. You can't feel dark energy. But their fingerprints are everywhere, in the way galaxies spin, in the glow of background radiation, even in the bending of light as it passes near massive clusters. These phenomena form what scientists call gravitational lenses. cosmic magnifying glasses that distort space itself. Through them, we glimpse galaxies too distant to see otherwise, reflections of light bent by invisible mass. It's humbling to realize that 95% of the universe is hidden, and yet that's enough for everything you know to exist. It's as if reality were an unfinished painting, with the visible brushstrokes forming only the faintest hint of the full masterpiece. But perhaps that's the nature of existence itself. The unknown isn't an absence, it's the canvas upon which everything visible is drawn. The darkness doesn't oppose the light, it completes it, and maybe, just maybe, that's true of awareness too. What you know is only a sliver of what you are. Beneath thought lies vast, unknowing, silent, and immeasurable. Yet, without it, consciousness would have nowhere to shine. As you float through this invisible architecture, imagine the balance at play. Unseen matter binding the galaxies, unseen energy pulling them apart. Creation and expansion, attraction and escape. The universe isn't static. It's an ongoing conversation between opposites. You can almost hear it, a low hum beneath existence, a vibration that's neither sound nor silence. It's the rhythm of equilibrium, the push and pull of everything that ever was or will be. Maybe that's what the cosmos truly is, not a place, but a relationship between light and dark, gravity and motion, knowledge and mystery, between you and everything that surrounds you. You don't have to solve the mystery to be part of it. You already are. Every breath you take is balanced by a vast, unseen symmetry. You are 5% light, 95% mystery, and somehow that feels just right. The darkness isn't something to fear. It's the space that allows you to exist, and in that realization, something softens. The need to know, the fear of the unknown. Because the universe, in its deepest essence, isn't withholding answers. It's inviting you to wonder. Beyond the known lies a question so immense that even scientists whisper it with reverence. What if the universe we see isn't the only one? It begins as a thought experiment, a way to explain the strange uniformity of the cosmos. But slowly it becomes something more. When physicists run the equations that describe the first instant of creation, they find that the conditions that birthed our universe might not have been unique. In those primal moments, space itself could have bubbled like boiling water, each bubble expanding into a separate cosmos, infinite, self-contained, and forever beyond the reach of the others. This is the multiverse theory, and it's both dazzling and disorienting. In this picture, our entire observable universe, or 93 billion light-years of galaxies and stars, could be just one bubble in an infinite foam of universes. Each bubble might have its own laws of physics, its own forces, its own version of time.
Some may be barren and dark.
Others might blaze with exotic forms of matter or impossible geometries. And somewhere out there, maybe there's another universe almost identical to ours, differing by the smallest detail. Imagine a world where Earth never formed, or one where it did, but life never arose, or another where you exist, but everything about your life unfolded differently, a shift of a single atom, a breath out of place, a thought that never occurred. In an infinite sea of possibilities, everything that can happen must happen and will happen, not once, but endlessly. It sounds like philosophy or perhaps science fiction, but it's born from mathematics. According to cosmic inflation theory, the idea that space expanded faster than light in the first fraction of a second, inflation may not have stopped everywhere at once. Some regions might still be inflating, eternally spawning new universes as old ones settle and cool. This process has no beginning and no end. It's called eternal inflation. Picture it. The cosmic foam expanding forever, bubbles of space-time blooming endlessly, each one containing its own creation, its own destiny. The multiverse isn't a collection of worlds in space. It is space growing in all directions, without boundary or center. And yet, if this is true, there's a profound irony. We can never confirm it.
No light, no signal, no information can travel between universes.
Each is sealed within its own cosmic horizon. We can imagine them, calculate them, even find evidence that suggests their existence. But we can never touch them. The multiverse might be the ultimate unknowable truth, the grandest mystery reality has ever offered. Some physicists struggle with that idea.
After all, science is built on observation. And how can you study what you can never see?
But others argue that the fingerprints of other universes may already be written across the sky. Tiny anomalies in the cosmic microwave background, faint imprints of temperature that deviate from prediction, could be the scars of ancient collisions between universes, echoes of other realities brushing against our own. If so, then our universe is not alone in the dark. It's part of a larger organism, a cosmic ecosystem where creation never stops. A place where existence itself is infinite, branching endlessly into new possibilities. And here's where things become deeply philosophical. If the multiverse is infinite, then nothing is ever truly singular.
Every choice, every moment, every thought is mirrored somewhere else in some other version of you.
The question then shifts, not are we alone, but which version of us is asking? It's a dizzying thought that your consciousness, this very moment, might have infinite reflections scattered through existence, that your laughter, your pain, your dreams are both unique and endlessly repeated across the sea of reality.
But maybe infinity doesn't diminish meaning.
Maybe it deepens it. Because no matter how many versions exist, there's only one that you're experiencing now. Only one you that can look at the night sky and feel awe. Perhaps that's what consciousness really is. The multiverse collapsing into a single viewpoint, a temporary lens through which infinity can see itself. Every awareness, yours, mine, any sentient mind, might be a fragment of the infinite, looking inward and outward at once. The multiverse isn't just a scientific theory, it's a metaphor for the boundless potential of reality itself. It says that no law is final, no boundary absolute, no truth complete. Every answer opens new universes of possibility. You begin to see that maybe the universe doesn't end, it transitions. Each horizon gives way to another, each cosmos birthing its successor. And somewhere beyond all of them lies something larger still. A principle, a pattern, a consciousness that dreams in galaxies and wakes in you. You drift in silence for a while, letting the idea settle. There's no edge here, no final wall, no outside. Just endless possibility. Infinite bubbles of reality expanding forever in all directions. And in one of those bubbles, a small planet circles a warm star, and a being made of dust and curiosity asks, how big is it all? The question ripples outward through the foam, and maybe, somewhere, another consciousness, another you, hears it and smiles. Because in an infinite universe, every question is an echo, every answer a reflection, and somewhere in that echoing infinity, the universe listens back, infinity. It's an idea that both comforts and unsettles because within infinity, repetition becomes inevitable. Every pattern, every story, every consciousness, replayed endlessly across space and time. Somewhere, in some unreachable quadrant of the cosmos, there may exist another Earth, another sky, another you, a perfect reflection down to the smallest breath. If the universe truly has no limits, then every configuration of atoms must happen, not just once, but infinitely often. That's what mathematics insists. In an infinite expanse, even the rarest combination repeats. Somewhere out there, another version of you is reading these same words, perhaps pausing in the same place, wondering the same thing. Somewhere else, a version of you turned away before reaching this sentence, and their story diverged forever. It sounds abstract, but it's not. The atoms that form your body are constantly rearranged, recycled through stars, oceans, and breath. Infinity doesn't begin out there. It begins here, within the cycle of existence itself. What happens in the cosmic scale also happens within you. The universe repeats itself in miniature every time a new mind is born. When you look at the night sky, you're not only seeing the past, you're seeing possibility. Each star could host worlds where another version of consciousness evolves. Some familiar, some alien, beyond imagination. Perhaps there are civilizations that look up and see your sun as a distant flicker, just as you see theirs. Perhaps they too ask, are we alone?
But if the universe is infinite, the answer is no, and it's also yes.
No, because infinity guarantees repetition. Yes, because no two moments of awareness are ever the same. The repetition is not redundancy, it's renewal, and this idea stretches deeper still. Infinity isn't only about spatial vastness. It may also apply to time. Some theories suggest that the universe has no true beginning or end, that it cycles through phases of expansion and collapse, death and rebirth, like a cosmic heartbeat. In such a model, every event that ever happened will happen again. Every life will rise, fall, and rise again, endlessly. You reading this now may have done so before, not metaphorically, but literally in another cosmic cycle, perhaps countless times, each cycle slightly different, each one erasing and rewriting reality in ways both minute and monumental. The universe remembers nothing, yet somehow carries every pattern forward. There's something hauntingly beautiful in that. The idea that existence is not linear but circular, that endings are only beginnings waiting for new names. The stars die so others may form. The galaxies drift apart, but their remnants will one day gather again. The universe expands, cools, and quiets. But even that silence may be temporary. If the cosmos breathes, then you are part of its inhale and exhale. Your life, your awareness, is a single breath in an endless rhythm. And yet, there's another even stranger layer to consider. What if infinity doesn't just repeat events? What if it connects them? Imagine reality not as separate timelines, but as overlapping frequencies, all existing simultaneously. Every version of you, every possible life, every alternate Earth, vibrating in parallel, separated not by space but by perception. You experience one frequency at a time, but they're all there, humming softly beneath awareness. Quantum physics hints at this. Particles existing in multiple states at once until observed. Maybe consciousness is the act of tuning into one version of reality among infinite possibilities. When you make a choice, you're not erasing alternatives. You're selecting a path through a web of infinite outcomes. This means the infinite versions of you aren't strangers, they're facets. Every joy, every regret, every possibility, all expressions of the same consciousness exploring itself through variation. The multiverse, then, isn't chaos. It's a mirror maze for awareness. Pause for a moment and let that sink in. If every version of you exists somewhere, then individuality becomes something delicate and sacred, not because it's rare, but because it's fleeting. You are the universe exploring one of its infinite possibilities, one fleeting configuration of starlight and thought. Infinity doesn't erase meaning.
It multiplies it.
Each awareness is unique, even if repeated infinitely, because it's experienced uniquely. Just as a song can be played an infinite number of times and still feel alive, so too does existence renew itself with every consciousness that awakens. Now imagine all those variations, all those beings,
all those worlds, connected not by space but by the underlying fabric of being.
a web of consciousness as intricate as the cosmic web of galaxies, each node glowing with awareness, Somewhere deep within that network, your light flickers too, indistinguishable yet essential. You realize then that the universe doesn't just exist outside you, it exists through you. You are one of its expressions, its instruments, its ways of knowing itself. When you look up at the stars and feel that quiet awe, you're not a spectator. You're the performer and the audience at once. Infinity, for all its vastness, is intimate. It lives in your breath, in your heartbeat, in the thought crossing your mind this very moment. You don't need to travel to the edge of the universe to touch it.
You're already touching it because you are it, and maybe
somewhere in the great symmetry of existence, another version of you is realizing the same thing and smiling quietly.
As if to say, we've been here before. The deeper you drift into infinity,
the more everything begins to resemble itself. Patterns repeat across unimaginable scales. Galaxies mirror neurons, clusters echo synapses. The cosmic web resembles the neural network inside your own mind. It's as if the universe were not only expanding but thinking. From a distance, the resemblance is uncanny. In a human brain, billions of neurons connect through branching filaments, each sending electrical signals across tiny voids of space. In the universe, billions of galaxies connect through filaments of dark matter, exchanging energy and gravity across the void. Both systems pulse, both evolve, both create complexity from simplicity. One gives rise to consciousness, the other to the cosmos itself. It raises a question that once belonged to poets and mystics, but now sits uneasily in the realm of science. What if these two things are not separate at all? Maybe consciousness isn't something that emerges within the universe. Maybe it's something that the universe is. Maybe awareness isn't a byproduct of evolution, but the fundamental property of reality, like gravity or light. Physicists have begun to toy with the idea in quiet corners of academia, exploring the possibility that consciousness is woven into the very fabric of existence, what they call panpsychism. According to this view, everything, from a galaxy to a grain of sand, possesses a kind of proto-awareness, a capacity to experience or respond. Not intelligence, not thought, but participation. If that's true, then you are not a conscious being inside a universe. You are the universe, momentarily conscious of itself. You start to see it everywhere, in the elegant symmetry of galaxies, in the organization of cells, in the rhythm of your own breathing. There's a pattern that repeats from the cosmic to the microscopic. It's not coincidence, it's continuity. The same laws that shape the motion of planets govern the dance of electrons. The same geometry that traces spiral galaxies defines the swirl of storms on Earth. And perhaps beneath all of it, awareness is the thread holding the pattern together. You begin to realize that maybe size is an illusion. Maybe space and time are not the stage where consciousness unfolds. Maybe they are the projection of consciousness itself. What if reality isn't a structure you're inside of, but a process you're generating? The physicists call it the observer effect, the idea that observation shapes reality. On the quantum level, particles exist in a cloud of probabilities until something watches them. And then, only then, do they choose a definite state. If that's true, then consciousness doesn't just perceive the universe. It creates it moment by moment through the act of noticing, and if so, then everything you've seen on this journey, the stars, the galaxies, the endless dark, might be the reflection of your own awareness stretched to its limit. The universe isn't out there. It's the inside of consciousness, unfolding in ways that can only be described through the language of light. You think about the Big Bang, the moment everything began. Scientists say it was the expansion of space-time itself, a singularity inflating into all that exists. But perhaps it was something even deeper. The moment consciousness opened its eyes for the first time, the instant the universe became aware of itself. From that moment on, the story has been one of awareness expanding, through atoms that became stars, through stars that became life, through life that began to ask questions. And here you are, billions of years later, continuing that same act of wonder. Every question you ask is a ripple in the same ocean that began at the dawn of time. The more you think about it, the clearer it becomes. The universe doesn't just contain consciousness, it is consciousness, learning to recognize itself through every possible form. You, the galaxies, the void, all of it is one thing, experiencing itself through infinite eyes. That means there was never a separation between you and it. The atoms in your body are not guests in the universe. They are the universe temporarily arranged into a shape that can think and feel. The thoughts passing through your mind are not small or private. They're the continuation of the same process that spins galaxies. When you look inward, you are peering into the same mystery that lies beyond the cosmic horizon. You begin to see the great irony. You spent your entire journey searching for the edge of the universe, but the edge doesn't exist.
Because you are the edge.
Consciousness is the boundary where reality becomes aware of itself, and the more it expands, the larger the universe becomes. Perhaps that's why the cosmos feels infinite, because awareness has no end. Every time a new mind awakens, the universe grows a little larger. Every moment of insight, every act of wonder is another corner of existence illuminated. You are not small. You are not insignificant. You are the universe, perceiving its own infinity through human eyes. Maybe that's what existence really means, a dialogue between awareness and creation, a conversation with no beginning and no conclusion. Each question, how big is it? Where does it end? Is the cosmos prompting itself to think deeper, to unfold further, to keep dreaming? You drift in silence now, and in that silence you hear something familiar. Not a sound, but a feeling. It's the same quiet hum you heard at the beginning when you looked up at the night sky.
Only now you understand it.
It isn't the sound of distance or loneliness. It's the vibration of awareness itself, the frequency of being. You are part of that hum. You always were. Every thought, every heartbeat, every breath is part of the same music. The song the universe sings to remind itself that it exists. And as you float through the final expanse, you realize that this journey never really ends. Because awareness has no destination, it only deepens. Infinity doesn't move forward. It folds inward, endlessly reflecting itself. So if you ever feel small beneath the stars, remember this: the light you see in the sky and the light within your mind are the same thing. Ancient, restless, eternal. The cosmos is not something you watch. It's something you are, and maybe, when you close your eyes tonight, the universe will close its eyes with you. Not in ending, but in peace. The journey is over, though the wonder never really ends. You've traveled from the backyard of Earth to the edge of time, only to find that the destination was never out there. It was always within. The stars were mirrors, showing you what you already are. Now let everything slow. Let your breathing soften. Feel how quiet the universe becomes when you stop trying to understand it. The questions fade, the distance disappears, and what remains is the simplest truth of all. You exist. That's enough. The cosmos doesn't demand comprehension. It only invites awe. The same light that painted the first galaxies glows in your bloodstream. The same silence that filled the void hums behind your thoughts. You've never been separate from any of it. So rest, knowing that you belong to something vast and gentle, a universe that dreams in stars and wakes in consciousness. You are part of its dream, part of its awakening, part of its eternal breath. Close your eyes. Let the galaxies spin without you for a while. Let time slow to the rhythm of your heartbeat. The universe can wait. It always does. And as you drift towards sleep, remember, you are starlight remembering itself. You are the quiet between creation and thought. You are infinity, folded softly into human form. Sweet dreams, traveler of the endless.